So it says in our psalm today, Psalm number 96. Do you ever read the Psalms, you guys? I'm sorry, I got him all worked out. That's my fault. Do you ever read the Psalms? They're beautiful, are they not? Because they address every human condition. They're prayers and they're songs. This one said in verse 6, "Oh, the majesty and magnificence of his presence." God is magnificent. Isn't God? Isn't God great? Isn't God amazing? Don't you think? What do you love most about God? Say what? He loves me. What else that you love about God?
The presence of all the flowers and trees that decorate.
He created everything.
Yes.
He's in control.
God's in control.
We can trust him.
We can trust him. How about answered prayers? Does God answer prayers?
Yes.
Every prayer? Lori, I'm going to go with no. Lori and I are on the same page here. Right? I had somebody at the earlier service say, well, God answers them, but just not in the way we want. That's a very common thing to say. It's all, no problem with that. But I am intrigued today by here's what I'm trying to get across with you. I didn't do a very good job of it earlier, so I'm going to just chew it up a little bit more. I'm trying to get across today. The centurion knew that Jesus could heal and said, heal. And Jesus did. And then Jesus says, great faith. I haven't seen that faith in a long time. If you have ever prayed for someone in your life to be healed, and they weren't, I wouldn't want you to think that it was something you did wrong. My question today is, what does faith look like in the face of the reality of unanswered prayer? I think it's dangerous when we start attributing God's listening and healing to a response to our prayers. In other words, it's kind of like God is working for me that way, you know? God's on my favorites list. I just call God up and I get what I need, you know? I think it starts to blur the line between the God of Israel and a genie in a bottle. That's what I want to say today. I'm not saying that God doesn't hear and that God doesn't heal, because I think God does. Someone told me after the first service, Father, I was healed from stage 4 cancer. And I was like, God bless you. What church? He went Pentecostal. I went, I get it. You know? But I am saying that our prayers and our faith must be about something more than trying to bend God's will to our will. The Lord's Prayer says that. Your will be done. I think our task is to resist the temptation to treat God like a genie in a bottle and look for something deeper, because I think something deeper is going on here. In the gospel lesson, this non-Jewish civil authority, a man of power and respect, but also a friend to the Jews, he built their synagogue after all, right? Not a Jew, built their synagogue for them. He has a sick servant. And when he hears about the powerful name of God, about the power of Jesus Christ, he sends along a request, please heal my servant. Oh, and it gets even a little more genie-like, because he says, you can do it long distance. You don't even have to lay hands on him. You don't even have to come over. Just say the word, he says. I trust that you can do it. And the implication in the text is that the centurion came to faith through this event. Or maybe had faith before it happened. Or maybe at least that folks who witnessed it came to faith through this miraculous healing event. Maybe you came to faith through this event, or one like it. Healing is a powerful thing to behold, and it does happen in my estimation. But more often than not, both in my estimation and in my experience, it is not. The idea that God's healing happens when we say. In other words, it's not healing on demand. That's just my experience. I go to the hospital and I pray with people a lot, and they don't walk out. You know? If they did, we wouldn't need doctors, right? We wouldn't need hospitals. We wouldn't need nurses. Y'all would be out of a job, you healthcare professionals, and I'd be the richest guy in town. I'd start charging for my service. I think the heart of this story, you guys, for me this week, is the way that it made me reflect on the more common event where the healing is prayed for but does not occur. Honestly, really, none of us would have any trouble at all believing in a God or having faith in a God or following a God who healed on demand. But who does what we say, who bends to our will is what I'm trying to say. But knowing that that simply is not the case, you still have faith. And I think that is the most amazing thing of all. I think that that's a faith that maybe God even is glorified more by. See, we could have faith in God, hoping that God will answer our every prayer and bring us everything we desire and ask for. But is that faith? Or is that greed? Or we could have faith in God because we're afraid of what might happen to us if we don't believe in God. Believe or die. But that's not faith, that's fear. What then is faith? If you ask me, faith is a fascination. In what way, Father? In this way. To fascinate is to draw irresistibly the attention of someone. That's what it says. To fascinate is to draw irresistibly the attention of someone. Have you ever been fascinated with anyone where they just drew your attention irresistibly? I think that's what it is with God. I think that's what faith is. To be fascinated with God is to have your attention irresistibly drawn toward God. And in that sense, I am not following God just to see what I can get. And I am not even submitting to God to avoid something that I don't want. I am fascinated by God. Because I think it's like I'm in love with God. You know? And here's the crazy part. I'm actually more fascinated by God than I would be by a genie. Why? Because a genie can be controlled by me. You know? I am the master and the genie does what I want. It's fun, but it's not faith. I am fascinated by, I am irresistibly drawn to God precisely because God is not controlled by me. Why is it, do you think, that God created the world and us and turned us loose but won't let us go? Is that not fascinating? I think that is so fascinating. That God is with us and God works with us, but God does not work for us in that sense. Can you have faith in a God who heals but not on command? Who listens but doesn't take orders? Who loves but doesn't interfere just because I don't know why. I don't know why God doesn't interfere all the time. I can't explain it. I can't explain God, but I am fascinated by God. I can scarcely look away at times. I can't stop thinking about God. I can't figure God out, but I can't stop fussing about God. And what I end up with is this. If this God of creation, who spun all of this into motion, will love me, then I almost can't help but love God back, no matter what happens. So I am fascinated. And I am in. I am all in with God. Whether my prayers are answered or not. Whether I am healed or not. If I live or if I die. I'm going to have faith in this God even if God does nothing for me the rest of my life except listen and love me in spite of all my craziness, my shortcomings and fears and failings and faithlessness. I am going to have faith even when there is no logical reason to have faith. Even when I'm not getting a darn thing out of it. That's my God, and that's my faith. And I'm trying my hardest to live it. And I invite you to join me by letting go of your greed and your fear and living in this kind of faith, in this kind of God, demanding nothing, believing everything you can believe, and somehow miraculously receiving everything that you need